We made so many memories and just, got so much closer than we would have otherwise.
We definitely wouldn't have moved in together. That definitely wouldn't have happened without the pandemic.
When you're long distance, you're forced to just talk. All you can do is talk. So I think we got a lot closer, a lot quicker.
It was hard because I missed him, but it was also hard just because we had no idea when we would see each other again.
It was one of the most risky decisions I've ever made. Probably also one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Where's the cameras? Just here? I feel like I'm on Hot Ones. Testing.
Amazing.
I see, you're a professional, huh? Oh my God. I'm so much taller than you on this. Did I do this correctly? Is this fine?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Cool.
Yeah, that's good.
So my name is Kevin Leo.
My name is Nina Larson.
My name is Naomi Richmond.
My name is Christian Santos.
So I'm Jenny.
My name is Sterling.
So my name is Amy Neen.
Hi, I'm Ruthie.
I'm Camille Shaher.
It's around 9 months since we first met, and then the start time of dating is a little bit ambiguous, but maybe 8 months.
A year and 5 months? 6 months?
Sorry.
3 months.
More like, yeah.
So we originally dated our senior year of high school, and then we broke up, and then we got back together last year, and we've been together for over a year and almost a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
January. I'm about to say January. July
27th.
So.
Okay.
Over a year now.
Mm-hmm.
November 9th was our anniversary.
So we met at a conference, which is like the last place you think you're gonna meet somebody.
Yeah. I think everyone was talking about their ambitions and what they wanted to do in life, and I didn't even notice that when Nina spoke, I didn't realize that she was a Dane. And
You thought I was Canadian.
We both did long distance for the majority of the year. I went to Worcester in Ohio. She went to Boston University in Mass. And I was actually in Boston when COVID broke out on spring break and never got to go back to my school.
It was, this is kind of an interesting story because we really did kind of start to get to know each other before COVID. She ended up going back to China for the summer, so then we were kind of just talking that way. And she comes back, and then all this happens, and we ended up basically just living with each other for a couple months.
When the pandemic hit, Ruthie was actually visiting me for spring break because we hadn't seen each other in 2.5 months. And my program got canceled the day after she got there. And then we basically had to flee Europe together and book flights to get out of there before Madrid went on lockdown. So it was pretty crazy.
It was pretty hectic. So for spring break, I was in Montreal, and I was in a relationship during that time. And so then when we got the news that BU was going to be online for 2 weeks, my whole family was in Mexico because they spend half of their time down there. And so I texted my mom and was like, why don't I come down there for those 2 weeks? So we got a bus back from Montreal, and I saw my boyfriend for a day. We cried a lot because we didn't know when we'd see each other again. And then I went to Mexico, thought I was gonna be there for 2 weeks, ended up being there for 3 months, which was kind of an ideal quarantine location.
Yeah, everyone got sent home, but the problem is I'm not American, so if I had to go home, I had to go all the way back to Denmark. And at first, I think you were already in Puerto Rico, so we were writing over text, and then we joked around, haha, maybe I should come to Puerto Rico because everything's gonna close down anyway. And then the day afterwards, you wrote, maybe you should come to Puerto Rico, and then it became much more serious day by day. So it went from playing around with the idea of going to Puerto Rico to 2 days later, I have actually bought a flight ticket and I was on my way to Puerto Rico. It was a bit insane. It was one of the most risky decisions I've ever made. Probably also one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird because I think Nina's parents were completely against it because Puerto Rico isn't known for its world state-of-the-art health system.
But actually, my parents have called me today, or later, and told me that it was probably the best decision I could ever have made. So they're glad that I didn't follow their opinion.
Honestly, it was the craziest couple of days for a multitude of reasons, and I think through it all, what gave me comfort was that I was with her, and that for some reason, as the world felt like, it literally felt like World War Z, time and time again, she just showed me that no matter what was going on, we could get through it, as well as like...
We were a team.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it was really great because, like, my parents were still getting to know him, and I think it was like, the first step in like, oh, they can do stuff together and they can like actually, work as a team. And if there are stressful situations, like, they're not just gonna like melt down and not be able to handle anything. Yeah. And that was really amazing. We drove to Philadelphia. I stayed for one day, and then the next morning I got on a flight and went back home, and then we were separated. Tough. So yeah, that's kind of like how it started off with COVID.
I remember us like having that fear of like, damn, when are we gonna see each other again?
I feel like it took like a time to like actually compromise for each other. Like, after we like were forced to move in together. But yeah, I would say like, cause we like before it had extensively like talked and like spent time together, so it wasn't like too much.
We had only been dating for a little while before I went away to Spain. So we pretty much like started our relationship long distance. So the pandemic was definitely not ideal for that situation.
It sucked because like it just meant we had to spend more time apart, but like it was good that we kind of had that like primer.
Yeah. No, it was nice because, I mean, not nice, but it was definitely like a blessing in disguise that we started our relationship in long distance because we kind of knew how to do it.
We broke up in May, so it was like a month or two in, yeah. Yeah, it was hard. He kind of like gave up in the first week almost, and I was like, whoa, we don't even know how long like this is gonna last. Like we might be back in April, like we don't even know. And I'm very optimistic and kind of idealistic, I guess. So I thought everything was gonna be fine, but he definitely was not in that mindset. I think he had a darker kind of view of everything, and I think that added a lot of stress. So, it was hard because I missed him, but it was also hard just because we like had no idea when we would see each other again. Definitely the long distance was hard. I would say the majority of our relationship was almost long distance because we started dating like this time last year, and then it was Thanksgiving break, and then it was like winter break, and then it was spring break, and then it was COVID. So a lot of it was long distance, which I think definitely took a toll. I also think the pandemic, coupled with a few other things, really took a toll on my ex-boyfriend's mental health, and I think that was a big factor as well.
Nina stayed in Puerto Rico for around 6 to 7 months, and then when she left for when she left for Denmark in August, we had been in a relationship for about like 5 to 6 months. Basically, once she went to Denmark, I guess we both realized that we actually value the other's company like a lot more than we had anticipated. And then like as the days became weeks, we were like, when are we going to next meet? And then we check online, and the US has this ban on the European areas. So any European foreigners cannot enter the US because of the COVID restrictions. But there was the loophole of US citizens being allowed into Denmark because of the sweetheart exemption. And I guess the plan started formulating after that, after we realized that it wouldn't be possible for Nina to come visit me, and then I would have to come visit Nina.
So basically, it's the Danish kind of exemption from the corona ban between countries, especially to other continents.
So it is like 5:30 a.m.
Where if you are either married or have a somewhat serious relationship with someone, they are allowed into Denmark. You just have to provide a few documents proving that the person that you're in love with actually is a Danish citizen.
I mean, it definitely, neither of us have like lived with someone that we've been in a relationship with, so it was very new for both of us, and I wouldn't say it was forced upon us, but in a way it was. So I think You know, like she said, at first it took us a while to kind of understand each other and what it's like to be together for that much time, but it really forced us to get into that phase of compromise and figuring out, you know, what does this person need, what do I need, and how do we communicate that with each other.
And eventually, like, I came to Philadelphia and I stayed with his family for the summer, and we like stayed together, and we made like the basement like our own room, and it was like really cool. But like we definitely wouldn't have moved in together, which we do live together now. We have our own apartment, but that definitely wouldn't have happened without the pandemic. It felt like it was fast-tracked because of COVID, but I think we're happy like with where it turned out, and we're excited to like see what happens in the future.
FaceTime.
A lot of FaceTime.
Letters every once in a while.
We started writing letters back when you were in Spain before COVID, which was kind of nice that we like started that, because then in quarantine we kind of kept it up. I'd say like once a month, once every 2 months we'd write each other a letter.
Every now and then.
We did some workout dates.
We did do workout dates too, with my little brother and my friend. We would all like line up on the rug, and Ruthie would be there like on Zoom, and we would do
like crunches and
workouts
stuff.
and crunches. I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have her to talk to during this. Like I
can't imagine it either. Like
we were both going through like a pretty tough time in quarantine, so it definitely was nice to have a break where we could just call each other.
Oh man, we cooked up a storm, that's for sure. Like every day she was making something new. I was helping, watching movies, shows. Oh yeah, I mean we made so many like memories, and just got so much closer than we would have otherwise. So
during COVID, I mean you have a certain area that you like perimeter around that you can walk, or like your neighborhood basically. And then when you're thinking about like how to be cute with your partner, you're like, well, what's within like the 2-mile radius of me that I can change and make something different this week or like this month?
But I think that the positive side of that is that actually it's a really Danish lesson, is to appreciate the little things that you do for each other, because you can't do the big things. You can't take each other to like a big carnival park or a big romantic restaurant or something. So you have to think out of the box to appreciate everydayness of things.
I've used Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge. I think right now it's really hard to find like new people and companionship, and I love like meeting new people. I love talking to new people, and so I think just kind of like a sense of connection. I'm not necessarily looking for a relationship or anything. Just I just think meeting new people and hearing about their experiences is always interesting, and if it leads to something great, if not, like that's fine too. I feel like people are more relaxed about it than they should be on dating apps, because like they want to regain some sense of normalcy. I always make sure before I meet up with someone that they're getting tested really frequently.
I'm an affectionate type person, and it's like when we first moved in together, I had to learn to, there's moments where she needs her independent time.
I need my space.
And it's not to the fault of me or anything like that. It's just like, you need your you time. And what I realized is that I needed my me time just in a different way than she needed it. So I came to terms with her time, and she came to terms with my me time. I think definitely because of COVID, we became more in tune with ourselves and each other.
All right.
It's weird because you think if you're not spending tons of time together, your relationship wouldn't progress as much, but like when you're long distance, you're forced to just talk, like all you can do is talk. So I think we got a lot closer a lot quicker because of it, like weirdly enough.
And I think like certain things, like just like the way the pandemic's like changed like the way you look at things, like before BU announced their plan, we were talking about like coming back to the school year, and we were like, are we gonna have to like move in together? And like you would never think about that like that early in a relationship.
It's like so much different when you're together physically with your significant other, and you can like tell something's wrong because like you're with them all the time and something's different, something's off.
Being together during COVID and being apart during COVID is like very two extremes of, intimacy in a relationship, because when you're together during COVID, you can't really escape the house together. Like you can't really get out. You're always together in a very narrow space. So you're very intensely together. So when you are apart and you have to like keep your relationship surviving online, it suddenly feels very cold and distant. Like, I think we were struggling a little bit with like not making it a friendly connection all of a sudden, because we'd used to like the intimacy being like something that was between us, like in real life.
I mean, now we're back together, and we were just talking about this the other day because we celebrated our year anniversary a few weeks ago, and we forget that like 9 months of that was long distance, mainly because of the pandemic. I think it made it stronger. I feel like that's like, we'll always remember the first year of our relationship as being like very tough and taking a lot of like communication and, I don't know, resilience.
It definitely like wasn't our like first choice for
I wouldn't say so.
how this would go, but I feel like it's also like I can't even picture our relationship without like all this long distance.
Have fun. Like, we're all so stressed right now, and understandably so. But like, I've just found out like lately, I've had a difficult time just like finding happiness in the things that I do, whether that's like school or like my job or like hanging out with friends. And like, I think this past week especially, like we've kind of taken a step back to just figure out like what's going on, why am I feeling like this? And a lot of it is just because we're so stressed out. Like, we kind of forget that there's this whole global pandemic happening. And the one thing like we really want to try to do more is find the fun moments. Go out on a date, and that doesn't mean you have to like go indoor dining, but like go out for a walk in the park, or like make a fun meal and then pretend like it's a restaurant at home, and just little things like that. Like, still find ways to be creative and smile and like still have that romance.
Kind of the main thing is like you've just have to realize that the people that are in your life are like so important, and whether that's romantic or otherwise, I think just holding the people that matter to you like a little bit closer has become increasingly important, and that doesn't even have to like apply to relationships. But I think if you do have like a significant other, like just realize how fortunate you are to have them right now and have that support system.
I think the pandemic, even outside of relationships, just like around family or friends or anything, you just learn to be so grateful with whatever time you get to spend with them.
Compromise,
I honestly feel like it's like important to love yourself first. Like, I would say like everything starts.
That's the
there.
main takeaway, is that you just
like if you don't love yourself first,
know
like
your
nobody
partner
else can help
more.
you.
I think for me that the big takeaway is also to find a silver lining in something that seems just bad. Like, the coronavirus has been such a negative effect upon the world, but try to like find happiness and misery in a way. Choosing to see it in a positive light, going to Puerto Rico, just like getting the best out of it. It's just and like finding love during a pandemic crisis at an exchange day that went wrong. I feel like that's like the last thing I thought that would happen.
And just like realize it's not that serious. Like, anything that you could get out of a dating app you can give to yourself. So like, if it's not serving you, it's not worth your time. There's too many other important things going on right now.
And I think it's important to still like stay safe and just like make sure that if you're going to visit your significant other, it's really safe and you're not like, hanging out obviously at any bars or anything, or doing anything you shouldn't, because you don't want to put like your significant other, their families or anybody else at risk.
Everyone is just dealing with a lot. There's so many things happening. Everyone's, under a different kind of stress right now. And you really just have to realize that you have to either meet people where they are, or like understand that everyone needs to prioritize themselves right now and really be there for themselves before they can be there for other people.
Those are the biggest things, I think. Definitely be able to communicate, because if you don't know how you feel, how the hell will she know how I feel, right? So do that self-work.
But it'll work out, I think.
You got this.
And if it doesn't work out, that's okay too. Like, I mean, I feel like even from failed relationships that like we've had, like I've learned so much, and I know Christian has learned so much about himself. So like, if you feel like things are not right for you, it's okay as well. You don't have to like latch on to something that's not working. And just like we said, communicate that, and like you'll be fine. I don't know, we made it through, and we're two coons, so.
What?